Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Juan's World, and we're now through the Christmas season. Yesterday was Epiphany, which is also called Three Kings, Los Tres Reyes in Spanish, and a very important festival in many Spanish countries. It was in Argentina. When I was a little boy, we used to put our shoes by the door and they would be filled with candies and so forth in the morning. That is, we would put them by the door, or you can also put them by the window on the 5th, and then on Three Kings you get your gifts. And in some countries still, Three Kings is the day when people give presents, not on Christmas Day. But it all depends. I mean, a lot of things change over time. There was a time when Twelfth Night was the most important day / night, and that is January 5th. If you count from Christmas Day as the first day, the 26th and so on, all the way, you get to January 5th, which is the 12th day, and that's when you have a final party and take your decorations down. But Epiphany, which is the next day, kind of took over from Twelfth Night. I'm not sure when, but certainly after Victorian days. Nowadays, of course, none of them matter. In the United States, for example, New Year's Day is pretty much the end of the Christmas tree season. January 2nd, the old Christmas trees are all out on the curb waiting to be collected because they've had them up since like the beginning of December, and they're getting kind of tired of it. You'll notice that I don't have any of my Christmas decorations anymore because I took them down yesterday. But I kept them up for the full 12 days and then Epiphany, because it doesn't seem right to me to just sort of like abruptly end everything and like go back to work and do all kinds of chores and so forth as if the holiday never happened. The way I do it is I now start a new set of celebrations, usually quicker than this year. This year Epiphany fell on a Monday, and Plough Monday is the first Monday after Epiphany. Well, because Epiphany is on a Monday, then the first Monday after Epiphany is next Monday. That's as late as it can be. And I always do something for Plough Monday. Plough Monday was great because it was the day when people were supposed to go back to work. I mean, particularly the ploughmen were supposed to go back to work because they'd had their Christmas holiday, and they couldn't really do a lot of plowing over the Christmas holiday anyway because the ground was frozen. And so if you just let it thaw out a little bit and you go a week or so and then back to work. But traditionally, particularly in East Anglia, and I love this, so Plough Monday is the Monday after Epiphany, the day to go back to work. So what are we going to do? We'll have a holiday. And they used to decorate a plough, and they used to drag it around the town and ask for money and beer and cheese and whatever you, and then theoretically go actually back to work on the Tuesday. So I celebrate Plough Monday, usually with cheese, as in the ploughman's lunch, bread and cheese and pickles and whatnot. Or sometimes I make a Norfolk plough pudding, just depends. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this year. And then after that is Carnival, because Lent is coming, and so you celebrate day after day. Like Mardi Gras in New Orleans, for example, begins pretty much immediately after Epiphany. They have their various crews out and and have a good time because Shrove Tuesday and Ash Wednesday are coming, and then Lent is coming, and so we want to have a good time until that happens. And back in the Middle Ages, on into the modern era, slightly, but generally speaking, the New Year began on Ash Wednesday. I mean, there are various times when the New Year occurred in various calendars in Europe, but that was one of them. And often, churches and communities and households and whatnot celebrated Christmas all the way until Shrove Tuesday. And then they packed everything up and, started fasting and praying and whatnot in preparation for Easter. So what you really have, if you do it properly in the old-fashioned way, is that you have 6 months of the year that is devoted to various celebrations in the church, starting with Advent. You go through to Christmas, and then through to Epiphany, and then through Carnival, and then through Lent, and then Easter, and that gives you a long period of time. Add to that the next 50 days to Pentecost, and you've pretty much run out 6 months. And then what the church has after Pentecost is what they call the Meadow period. The Catholic Church and the Anglican Church have different colors for different seasons in the year. So they often have purple for Christmas, white for communion and also for Easter, and red for Pentecost. And what's called ordinary time is green. And ordinary time runs from the end of Pentecost to the beginning of Advent. And that's another 6 months. Very long period where the church is decorated and the ministers all wear green. And so it's called the Meadow period. So you have all of these revelations, Christmas, Easter, Pentecost, like all of this activity. And then the Meadow period is supposed to be the time when you reflect on it. and then you start it all again. But we don't do much of that anymore outside of the church. The church doesn't really have much of a hold over the secular world anymore. And so, 2nd of January, out goes the Christmas tree. Epiphany doesn't really exist anymore. If you don't live in a Catholic country, you're unlikely to experience much in the way of Carnival. But in Argentina, it's very, very important. They have what's called murgas every weekend, which tour around all of the barrios in Argentina, or in Buenos Aires, I should say. Different cities have different ones. And it's a very festive time. And I kind of miss that. So I'll be talking a bit about those things in the coming weeks, but I also realize that I'm coming up to the 400th episode, and then we're going to make a change, but I don't know what it is. So let's just think about it. of the important things about my YouTube channel is that I don't allow comments. And it's not like I'm not interested in what people have to say. I'm sort of interested, but I'm certainly not interested in any negative commentary, which, you know, is also not really important, because if people put up negative things, I can just erase them and just say, okay, you know, I hope you enjoy your life, but, you know, don't trouble mine. But I'm also not particularly interested in building up a following in order to monetize or anything like that. This is just me, you know, rambling on, continuing what I've always done all my life. I've been a teacher all of my life, and this feels like continuing into retirement, so that even though I'm now getting on to be a really old git, I can still give lessons. And in some kind of digital universe, they will continue pretty much indefinitely. But what I'm concerned about is repeating myself. And I noticed that about Epiphany and Twelfth Night. I was going back through my old videos, and I saw that I had one on Epiphany and Twelfth Night, the difference between the two and how they were celebrated, and particularly the 12th cake and so forth. And I started thinking that, like, maybe I should just put excerpts of this back on today, just as a reminder. And I thought, well, all that's showing is that I'm running out of steam. I'm running out of things to talk about, running out of recipes maybe. I don't know whether I'll ever run out of recipes, but like significant recipes, well, you know, maybe. So I've got to ponder. And you see, the other thing is that my writing has, well, it's not stopped, but I've finished a couple of very important books under contract. The one concerned with my anthropological view on the Bible, called Text and Context, was due to the publisher in June 2026. Well, I finished it. Now I'm just waiting for my editor to reply to my query email, which is, look, I finished it, now what? I mean, are you ready, or should I just put it on hold for a while? I've got two other books that I could work on. There's one on the ethnography of Phnom Penh, and there's one about the origins of customs, both of which are not quite under contract, but I've got two publishers interested in both of them, but they want to see completed manuscripts, so I've got to get on to that. But the ethnography of Phnom Penh, I can't really continue until I talk to some of my former students who were helping me, and we had a period of about 6 months when we talked about it, and I did some work and so forth. But then I had to get on with my textbook and other things, and so that went by the wayside. But now I can pick that back up. But they've got to decide on when to meet with me. And then the Origins book, frankly, like, my heart isn't quite in it. I mean, I'll do it. I'll get into it, but I'm not into it yet. I haven't really done much except write an introduction, which is just very vague. And so I'm just sort of thinking, well, you know, I could just like take a break. So I'm in a transition, and very important to be a new year, and to feel like, okay, we're going to start again. So I'm going to start these videos again with a different slant or a different topic, but I don't know what it is yet. So I have to give that some thought. So meanwhile, please Tell your friends about my videos. Please like, please subscribe. And I'll be back on Friday, hopefully with a little more precision or detail or awareness, let's say. Have a good week.